Good noon, friends. Today I'm in Ahmedabad and we are doing a live from my Ahmedabad home. So a little bit of background, which is okie dokie, you can call it. How was the weekend? Weekend was, largely dominated with the headlines mainly from Iran as to how was the funeral of Ayatollah Khamenei, the leader who was killed on 28th February, the Iranian leader, who was the supreme leader rather, the Iranian supreme leader second, who was is there have been a kind of aerial footages, and that is more of a geopolitical stress test. My understanding is that rather than the funeral. So I've been following this news and what has been happening on the market side. July 3 there was a holiday in US, so of course that data has not been there, and we'll connect basically as to how the things are happening, what's really buzzing in which place. I'll take you through the entire grid basically as to what's happening where. We take a daily briefing view basically, and from the briefing view we'll go towards uh, the material which reads that how the things are shaping on the world front. What is the brief? So we'll just go over there and start sharing the windows. Once I share the windows, we can always take that call. So here we go. So what's the daily briefing? Today's macro view, rather. It's more about the global markets in flux, central bank decisions, and geopolitical shifts, diverse volatility across the assets. The geopolitical tension rise, the developments in Iran, Ukraine, command of international attention ahead the NATO summits. What has happened? In Russia, the way Russia has hit Ukraine. India's domestic pulse basically, from weather, the weather in Bombay, the Western India, to the regional politics, and the nation navigates through complex challenges, but the nation continues growing, building, progressing. That's what it is. Entertainment highlights, box office battles, and high profile celebrity weddings. Amir Khan's wedding was the kind of buzz in last 48 hours. This buzz has been there across the social media everywhere. And of course the collections of Alia Bhatt and Sharmari Wagh and Bobby Deol's terror, the YRF universe, spy universe, flick alpha. The tech innovation surge, new gadget launches, and major software leaks define the digital landscape, and the science frontiers, what's happening on that front. So we scale from here, we move ahead. Let's take a look as to what is happening on the next front. So from the business and finance desk, what's really making the news? So from the business and the finance desk, the market moves basically. Market movers have been mainly the XPR price news, heavy volumes. Ripple Link token up 3%, but there is a seller's rally in that, and top three price predictions for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, BTC maintains a recovery. There is a challenge, ETH challenge as well, and stocks to buy on July 6th. That is mainly the Bharat Electronics Limited, Bharat Dynamics, HDFC Bank, Senco Gold, FMCG, Vedanta, Power, Nykaa. These are the recommendations from Upstock basically. That's a brokerage firm. From today, we are incorporating the market segment into this live only. So we won't be doing a separate live, the pre-market live. At around 12:30 when we start this thing, we'll incorporate the market segment also, because markets are on. So that partial rather than, kind of pre-market thing, we will do when the markets are on. So currency war, Japanese yen declines towards 162, and USDS carries trade counter inventions. Dollar near week two lows. 2 weeks low basically, as the rate hike bets recede, embed yen focus. Australian dollar outlook is mainly to bounce back. That's how it is. And commodities trade, oil prices decline, as OPEC also now says, that they are going to approve the higher output targets. So one is the Strait of Hormuz glitch is probably getting solved, and here the OPEC production is also increasing. So OPEC's countries say they will expand monthly oil production. That has been reported by Al Jazeera. Morning News Brief also reads about it. And coal price rises, as cooling rates hike, bet higher dollar. So this is also something. So it's getting a stable environment. Balanced oil prices, rising gold prices. Let's see. So that's the news. Trade setup for July, can Nifty 50 breach the 224,000 plus level. Yes, it's there. El Nino and Iran sharpen India's food price challenges. That's what I've always been saying, that on one hand there is Iran crisis, the West Asia war, then there is the super El Nino, the weather challenges. So that's going to put a kind of inflationary pressure. And Cube Highways Trust rupees 5,000 IPO may open soon. That's something there in the business news front. So these are the news from the business and the finance desk. Now let's take a look at what's happening on the other areas. That's what's happening in the world. What's happening. So from the world desk, what I read from the world desk is that Iran, Middle East tensions, basically West Asia war live. Iran begins procession through Tehran for Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei's funeral. This news has been there across all the platforms, and the kind of visuals which have been there that clearly indicate that more than the state funeral, it's a kind of a geopolitical stress test. Because on one hand, America has been telling some nations, that's the news which reads, that America has been telling some nations that please don't join this funeral. And on the other hand, there have been nations which have sent their delegations, which have joined the funeral process. So it's a kind of geopolitical stress test, in my understanding. That's what it is. Of course, it's a state funeral, but this is more of a geopolitical stress test as well. That's what I believe. Ali Khamenei's funeral has a summer festival kind of a feel. NDTV reports there have been crowds, there have been free food, and there's been a music and everything. Equally, US pressured countries to skip Khamenei's funeral. At least 13 withdrew of the reduced participation. There have been reports mainly from the Times of India. So, that's what I've been telling them. See, this news we curate for you. We read the newspapers, we read the portals, and that's how we bring this midday kind of a wrap. So what is the news which has been happening around us? The latest information, like something reported before 15 minutes, 20 minutes before we start this telecast. So we even read the newspapers, we read the portals, and from there we bring the entire crux as to what are the key headlines. 2 countries, 5 cities, 6 days. The significance of Ayatollah Khamenei's funeral route, that has been kind of an explainer from NewsX. World in brief, if you see, Iranians begin funeral procession for Khamenei and Russia's attacks on Kyiv ahead of Nato summit. This is something which the Economist reads. Russia-Ukraine conflict and NATO. Russia launches fresh missile drone attacks on Kyiv ahead of the NATO summit in Turkey. So what does it indicate? I mean, is the peace on the way or the fight would continue? World in brief, Iranians, that's what the Economist read. I've already read it. And diplomacy and global relations, if you see in that direction. J.D. Vance, US only ally, remark for Netanyahu, says 1.5 billion Indians reply. That's the Netanyahu has said to J.D. Vance, when he said that Israel is only an ally, he said, we have friends like India, which is a 1.4 billion population country. We have some other friends like India. Netanyahu pushes back after J.D. Vance calls US only ally of Israel. So this is the kind of diplomatic warfare word which is happening in the international circuit, international space. Bangladesh quotes to China even as the ties with India improves. So, this is something which is happening in the South Asia Pacific Rim, or basically the SAARC Rim, you can call it. In South Asia, America has stopped India for permission. In South Asia, America has stopped asking India for permission. That's a Al Jazeera report. I mean, that's something which needs to be read, Is it a biased report or it really has some kind of an insight? That's what needs to be understood. So it seems to be like a kind of opinion editorial piece kind of a thing. So let's keep it that way. International news events, Mexico versus England live World Cup 2026 updates, and that's how it is. 4 including children injured in New York shooting on a US Independence Day. Japan space probes schemes asteroid in test of planet defense. That's being reported by Ashraf Alawas English. And PM Modi on a 6-day visit to Indonesia, Australia, and New Zealand. That's a part of the morning news brief. So let's take forward the look as to what is happening from the India desk. So what's the news from the India desk? And the market commentaries are also there, but we'll take a look from the India desk. And so what is happening from the India desk and the regional news desk? That's what we need to understand, what we need to take. So here we pick up. So Western India weather crisis, heavy rains, 80 kilometers per hour winds, alert for Mumbai, Thane. That's being reported by Edith. Mumbai rains are there Pune school shut under IMD red alert. Basically, Thane, Navi Mumbai also announced a holiday. Traffic suspended on Pune-Mumbai highway after flooding and landslide events which have been reported. Mumbai-Pune train services suspended after landslide at Karjat and Lonavala section. And Mumbai rains, heavy monsoon showers shut school. Mumbai-Pune expressway shut, orange alert issued. So this is, in nutshell, the heavy rains in Maharashtra, Mumbai and surrounding areas. Politics and governance, how CM is redefining opposition politics, targets BJP but tangos with the center. So that's the Thalpathy kind of politics happening in Tamil Nadu. As Mamata Banerjee takes charge after Chandrima's resignation, Chandrima's resignation, Dilip Ghosh says TMC no longer exists. That's what he has said. And this is another setback for Mamata Banerjee as TMC Bengal chief Chandrima Bhattacharya. She resigns from all the posts. And buried thrice, refuse wax, that's kind of a thing. And not eligible for government role. That's a Bengal CM's announcement. So, yeah, this is going to be the kind of politics now which is going to happen in Bengal. National Affairs and Diplomacy. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar meets Qatar PM, reviews the bilateral cooperation, and we are prepared for a 2D bill delimitation and dismissal. That's what Hindu reports. Indus Water Treaty, how India Pak 1960 pact turned Jammu and Kashmir's biggest asset into liability. That's what Hindustan Time reports. Sonam Wangchuk's hunger strike enters 7th day. Cockroach Janata Party says center will be responsible if anything happens. That's the kind of statements which are coming there from the strike stand. And commercial law monologues. Does the group of companies doctrine of Indian arbitration jurisprudence transcend the party autonomy? This is a bar and bench article which needs to be read and understood as to what are the nitty-gritties of this. Regional business development events. Bangalore Microsoft techie gets rupees 1.9 crore job after his father sold his mother's gold for his studies. That's a report on moneycontrol.com. And government asked Telangana to curb pirated content, warns of legal action for non-compliance. Equally, director seeks kickstarts the season's lavender harvest at Bona Farm. That's in Delhi lecture. And Central issues anti-piracy notice to Telangana, demands action within 15 days. So this is the news from the regional desk and India desk basically. Let's see what's happening apart from that on other areas. So we'll take a look at what's there from the technology and science and entertainment desk. Of course, the news of wedding of Amir Khan, that's making rounds, no doubt about that. But tech, gadget and e-commerce compliance, Amazon Prime Day, so there are details more about the sale. I would not go into that. So this Prime Day sales of Flipkart, Amazon, these are making the news rounds on the business front and tech and gadget and e-commerce areas. Nothing phone, that's what we have already talked. It's likely to be launched very soon in India. Massive Android 17 leak, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo and Honor planning an unusually early launch. Equally, the best smartwatches of the battery life. That's an article in Android Central. And smartwatch feature automatic calorie intake measurement and hydration monitor. That's there from Japan today. That's talking about a particular smartwatch which we would not like to endorse over here. So you can go and read that article if you want. 7 best portable tech gadgets that were designed for the job site and are better for everywhere else. That's a report from the Yanko Design. And you are probably not washing these fabrics enough. That's another news. And Oppo Reno 16, Reno 16C, which one should you buy? That's a comparative kind of a feature from 91mobiles.com. So that's all on the tech and gadget front. On science-based discoveries, US's renewed moon race with China, timeline now measured in months, NASA chief says. And will iPhone survive till 2076? US buries iPhone 17 Max Pro in time capsule. So let's see how it survives without that charging or whatever you call it. Biologists built synthetic cell that can feed, grow, divide, and evolve. That's a breakthrough. And I don't know what does this really mean. Is it a challenge to the robotics engineering now in coming days where the DNA and the humanoid engineering would take place? Let's keep an eye on this and let's keep a watch on this. Entertainment box office, Minions, Monsters dethrones Toy Story 5, tops fourth on July holiday box office in USD 160 million collection. Alpha opening weekend worldwide box office, Alia Bhatt and Sharvari Starrer spy action from YRF Spy Universe. It has grossed around 55 crores in 3 days globally. That's the report from Pink Villa. And celebrity biopic news, it's all about Amir Khan and Gauri Spart's marriage. What's the Gauri Spart's property worth, net worth, these, that. Who was the GD Naidu, everything to know about R. Madhavan's upcoming biopic. And this is something there. But apart from that, these headlines are more or less on Amir and Gauri Spart's marriage. Now we go towards the market section, because from today we are starting a market section. And I'll just cruise some slides and we'll take that ahead. So what's your market commentary? So market commentary largely reads that. So let's see what's your market commentary. The market commentary is largely this week's watch list. Basically, it's TCS, it's oil, it's a Fed sentiment which going ahead. Bull markets keeping alpha continued, and markets after oil shocks. China, India supply hurdles, India office market phases. This is what it is. So this is what you have to understand. And largely the momentum paradox of economy is carrying. Aggressive institutional positioning drives bull run. Bond market signals necessity on rate hikes. Equally, monetization options drive acceleration for Bharti Airtel. Bending spoons, Nasdaq hits almost 25 billion value tops. Its IPO, defense stocks in focus. DSE approves purchases for proposals. And structural vulnerability, rising bond yields. Uber European scale back. So these are the news. And alternative markets frontier, Bitcoin bearish. Bitcoin remains in the bearish move. Meme coin validation is there. Prediction for market risks is included. And what is the editor's take basically, largely? If I analyze these news and if I take a majority editor's take, what do they say? Proceed with the extreme caution. That's what they are saying. Caught between the narrative of perpetual bull run and the structural reality of rising bond yield, we are building missile yet cannot drain out streets. The manic phase is really world casualties. So this is basically what largely the financial editors are opining. That's what we once we analyze this content, it gives us AI driven area as to what is the editor view basically. So this is largely the editor's view on the market commentary. If we take a look at the indices, the major indices worldwide, if you take a look, it's more or less the US has been plus. The US indices have been largely into plus. The European indices have been largely into plus. The NATO summit and all the sentiments happening. If you see the Latin American indices are largely into the plus zone. And if you see the other indices like India, Nifty, Sensex, they are also into plus zone. Equally on Asian indices, if you see the last week close, that has also been on the plus. So basically, cooling oil prices are, bringing somewhere a kind of currency stability, and the markets are being fueled. The equity markets are being fueled by the players. They're getting into the equity investment mode for a while. At least that's what we can say. Buy on dips kind of a scenario. So this is the scenario of world major indices. Now let us understand the reasoning as to, why these indices have gone up or down. What has been the major factors? So major world indices key metrics, largely if I take into consideration, this is the scenario. S&P 500 plus, it has been largely driven by the cyclical values, records high rotation Dow Jones to cyclicals, and Nifty down, macro tailwinds, and monitor the resistance. That's what it is. Euro stocks is largely strong against ECB policy, impact to watch, and Nikkei is largely strong year-to-date, negotiate RSI, divergence, near-term, the pullback of the risk. Shanghai Composite is recovering. Its stimulus impact is a mixed kind of area. And Kospi, the tech rotation, the chip sector headwinds, these are somewhere hitting the Kospi. Hansing, if you see the tech slump, the geopolitical concerns are persist, and CAC, that's lagging YTD cyclical. So it's positive. The neutral markets are mainly the Nifty, Euro, Shanghai Composite, Kospi, and negative is largely Hansing and Nikkei. That's into the negative zone. And these are the low-term factors. The medium-term factors are largely Shanghai Composite and Kospi. And the high-term factors are mainly into S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nifty 50, Euro stocks, and Nikkei. So Indian markets are into a high valuation presently. That's what you can say. Matrix summary has been given comparatively, and you can see the performance Y-to-date as on 7/3/2026. It's more of a technical, but fundamentally, if I try to break, I would say that the markets which are there in high zone have been kind of been reporting a stability for a while, with the oil prices cooling off, the tech stock dump which is happening. And medium term markets are mainly because they are looking for the policy level changes and what is happening into the international market, the geopolitical space. And whether a particular stock market is drawn by a particular sector, like what is there in the case of Kospi, it's a tech rotation, it's a chip sector headwind, so that's what it is. Because 50% of composition comes in Kospi from Samsung and HK Hynix. So this is what it is. And low is Canadian market enhancing. That's into the low zone basically. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look as to what is happening with the India indices. And when we take a call on the India indices are largely, India indices have indicated more or less. If you see, the Nifty 50 is plus, the BSE Sensex is plus, the Nifty Bank has been negative. Not today, of course. This has been a backdrop of the Friday. Nifty Fin Services have been positive. BSE BankX has been negative. Nifty Mid Cap has been selective. So then there is a detailed idea about all the pharma, the mid cap, the metals, the commodities, everything as such. So overall, it has been a kind of bullish wave into the India market in most of the indices. And let us understand the factors. What have been the factors largely why the Nifty has been, or why the Indian indices have been strong. So again, here the same metrics of the high, low, medium, and what really does this mean? So this means that NSE Nifty 50, BSE Sensex, Nifty IT, Nifty Pharma, Nifty Realty are into a high zone, good valuation. So these sector stocks you can always take a call on. That's what the experts and analysts say. That's what the analysis or the kind of analysis which is done over here reads. Nifty Auto and Nifty Metal is into a medium scaling, though it's positive. Nifty Energy is positive, but it's a little low. Nifty Bank Nifty is also a little low. So metric summaries, US jobs data fuels, the board bullish sentiment. Nifty IT Pharma leaders, sectoral performance and systematic signals support continued optimism. So largely what is there into bullish is mainly the Nifty 50 and the BSE Sensex. Cautiously optimistic is Nifty IT Pack, Nifty Pharma, Nifty Auto, Nifty Metal, and Nifty Energy. And neutral is Nifty Reality and partially Nifty Pharma and Bank Nifty, of course. So these are the kind of metrics which we are trying to understand today. And while we take a look at other areas, so what's there on the business pulse? The business pulse, largely the news reads mainly of market and economy, Dalal Street, 4-week winning streak, oil prices shock, fear gluts, rising double-edged sword. That's what it is. AI capital deployment, pivot of accountability, Tesla caps of staff, weekly AI spending. So now the weekly AI spending has been capped off. Top IT firms face muted Q1 growth. That was expected. The Q1 growth of most of the companies is likely to be muted. Automobile, what we read is that India's resilient heaven versus global turbulence. Tata Sumo likely come back. That's what is heard. So let us understand. And auto sector focus, capacity revamp, EV discounts. India is a domestic and globally there is a volatility. That's what is read. Government policy center hikes onion procurement prices. India eyes 15% isobutanol blend in diesel. So now after ethanol, there is going to be a isobutanol blend in diesel of 15%. That's what we read. That's being a report from Money Control. And India Electronics Evolution, CG Semi plant inaugurated, of course, in Gujarat. And Maharashtra FDA bans toxic beauty creams. Urban workforce dynamics, women participation in last 8 years. That's a data about it. AI data center boom. Chennai's water and power hunger. That's a story basically. So this is largely the business matrix, what's happening in the business space. And let's take a look as to what is happening on the global events and earnings today. So the global events and earnings, there is a Eurozone retail sales at 9. Today it was there. The barometer of consumer resilience, US ISM services PMI data, that's going to be centric pulse of service sector, Asia Pacific data digest all day, and key regional updates. Indian corporate snapshot, Ecos India mobility, financial dividend consolidation, embassy developments, funding rising via NCDs. LIC housing AGM date and record date is there. Trident key corporate recommendations, SCPC limited fundraising decisions, and Mamta machinery dividend payout and consideration. So this has been largely the events, the corporate events, and the kind of events earnings snapshot. We take a call on how does this happen on the brokerage vantage point? The brokerage vantage point. So what is the trading strategy for the brokerages today? As we do this slide, it's almost one in another 1.5 hour. That's 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3:30. Another 2.5 hours. The market will close. But what is the brokerage's vantage point? What is the brokerage's trading strategy? That says buy on dips largely. The India markets, Nifty 50, they are bullish. The world markets, they are looking at S&P and Nikkei. India VIX signals are there. IT is recommended. It's a sector which they are recommending. Largely, they are TCS, HCL, EdTech, and Infosys. These are the stocks in focus in IT. Pharma, healthcare, there are Max Healthcare. Then there is, I'll just take a call on this. Then there is, Max Healthcare, Sun Pharma, and Zydus Life Sciences are from the pharma sector. The outlook is cautiously, it's bullish. The outlook for IT is it's a high conviction. For financials, it's cautiously bullish. HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank, and Bajaj Finance are into the focus. Realty, DLF, it's bullish. So it's a kind of risk management matrix which is taking place over here. And if you see, max 2% capital risk, that's what it reads. Oh, I'm sorry, this slide has gone away. We'll take a call again over here. We'll have to share it. So we share this slide again. And here we go. We share this again. And here the sharing happens. There have been sometimes these glitch happens, So yeah. And what are the key recommendations? TCS, HDFC, DLF, these are the key recommendations by the brokerages. That's a vantage point. That's a trading strategy over here. So let's take a call. Let's take a look on other areas. I think this is what we call it a day. I'll stop sharing the screen over here now. I'll be back on the screen. So today we have done a mixed matrix of markets and the mainstream news, and this is how it's going to be. So daily afternoon around, we'll keep it at 12. So 12 to 12:30 there would be a segment in English. So 12:45 to 1:15 there would be a segment in Hindi. And another segment would be from 1:30 to 2, let's say. Or keep it at, 11:45 kind of a thing. 11:45 to 12:15, 12:30 to 1, and 1:15 to 1:45 or 1:30. That's largely, we'll keep a 2 hours gap basically before the market closes. So we may do it at 11:45, 11:30, 11:30 to 12. So we'll just finalize the time and we'll put it accordingly. 11:30 to 12. Then there will be a segment from 12:15 to 12:45, and then there will be a segment from 1 to 1:30. So that would be a mix of markets and the mainstream news developments, and that's how the DLG hashtag, the hashtag DLG plus to dispatch live in English, same in Hindi, and same in Gujarati. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for joining us. Do keep on sharing your constructive criticism, your suggestions, so that we can keep on improving our presence over here. Thank you.